while he was playing Good Samaritan to a motorist who'd broken down on the M5. Rob Golding's been looking into the hazards they face, policing our Midland motorways.
The Midlands has more miles of motorway than any other region in Britain, and what's more, mile for mile, they're the busiest. For all that, though, the accident statistics are impressively low. Low, that is, for motorists who, come what may, stay in their vehicles. Start wandering around these carriageways and they reckon your survival time is between 90 seconds and 2 minutes. Fortunately for most of us, punctures and breakdowns don't happen too often. But for these men, it's as much a part of their daily lives as brushing their teeth or combing their hair. For them, on occasions, it's a little like playing Russian roulette. And once in a while, they hit the loaded chamber. That's what happened here on the M5 last night. Constable Paul Worth had just got out of his Range Rover to help a motorist when a lorry slammed into him. He died in hospital this morning. Today, his colleagues at West Midlands Control were too upset to talk about the dangers of the job. Dangers shared, though, by patrolmen in neighbouring Warwickshire.
The job of the motorway officer is extremely dangerous. He's facing hazards day in, day out, every minute of the day, particularly when he has to stop on the carriageway or on the hard shoulder, and then has to get out of his vehicle. But he must do this to protect the passing public.
What sort of deal do you think you get from the public when you're out there, when you're exposed on the carriageways?
Not always the protection we would like. We can put signals up, that's matric signals, to warn the motorist of the hazard ahead. We might put a speed restriction on or a lane closure, but invariably they take no notice of this, and that's when the danger occurs.
And it's in situations like this where the going gets really tough. An old lorry door has fallen onto the carriageway, and there's only one way of getting it: man versus machine. It seemed to me the traffic wasn't slowing for you.
That is correct, they don't slow down, they just keep coming at you.
We've talked about this thing you call jumping. In practice, how often do you have to jump out the way?
Quite regular. The car comes down towards you, you seem to sense it, that he's not going to slow down. You're out there, you've got a choice of either stopping where you are and getting run down, or making a dive across the barrier. The safest thing is to make the dive across the barrier.
Roy, let's turn back to you. What do you regard as a near miss?
Several feet.
I don't think they are, no. I don't think they realise that the dangers that the police officer policing the motorway is exposed to. The scene of an accident, the scene of any incident.
This weekend, the volume of traffic on this motorway will step up dramatically. So too will the risk.
So the messages take extra care. Well, a report out today claims that Britain's expecting a baby boom, which will increase the number of children by 200,000 over the next 5 years. Already the increase is noticeable in hospitals throughout the country. But as Terry Lloyd reports, the booms arrive too late for some people.
The forecast 20% increase in births is put down to children born in the baby boom of the 60s now becoming parents, coupled with the fact that many wives are now planning to give up work, believing the recession is reaching an end. About 650,000 babies were born in Britain last year. The Department of Employment, who made the prediction, expect a rise to 800,000 a year by 1986.
It's nice to see a proud dad.
Yes.
Can I ask you, what made you decide to start a family now?
Well, we've been married 2 years and it was a planned thing, and as I can say, we've got everything straight and paid for, and, you know, we're just, well, everything was right, so we...
So when they say that there's likely to be a baby boom because people think the recession is over, that really applies to you?
Yes, yes.
Do you think that the recession is on its way out and it's perhaps a good time now for couples to think about a family?
Yes, I do, yeah.
How are you coping with 2 and now 3?
Well, I coped with 2, and I suppose one more would make a lot of difference.
They'll add up to welcome arrivals for stores like Mothercare and Boots, who are ready and waiting to cope with the 80s boom. But that boom will be too late for this Nottingham firm, Greenwood and Company, who were once at the centre of the pram manufacturing business. Today, however, this 70-year-old family company, which at its peak turned out 14 handmade prams a day, closed down, victims of the recession and the decreasing number of mothers buying old-style prams.
After 60 years, the family's been in business here, and just one of those things. Closed down completely, everything gone, the place is empty, all the tools, machinery. It's been here as long as I've been here, and I've been here over 30 years.
So this forecasted baby boom coming up in the next 5 years really has arrived too late for you?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
However, many families in the East Midlands believe a mini baby boom may arrive sooner than expected as a result of last weekend's blizzards, which blacked out many homes in the region.
And talking about homes, imagine a home with no corners, no doors, virtually no bills. Well, that's what two international designers came up with when they set out to create a very special home for the International Ideal Home Exhibition at the NEC. Tony Maycock has been taking a look at it.
Roger and Martin Dean have made a fortune in the past 10 years with their pop record covers, postcards and posters. Their book on the philosophy of architecture has sold 500,000 copies worldwide. But until now, they've never actually designed a house. They didn't really intend to this time. It just grew out of talking to children about the kind of bedroom they wanted. The kids demanded a solid bed, so nothing could hide underneath, a round space with no dark corners, and a door they could see all the time. And those demands have grown. They've grown into a grown-up house. It's called the Tectonic Home.
In the end, we ended up with something that was very much described by the children's gestures, but it wouldn't fit into normal architecture. So we had to take the next step. We had to do the architecture with it. And using the same approach, looking at people's gut reactions to space and how they like to be within their house, we found that we're coming up with some very interesting things.
In fact,
very
this.
interesting shapes. Yes, in fact, this.
Is it feasible? That's the crunch question.
Well, initially we were concerned with these instinctive responses, but we then went from there to sort out the technology. We ended up with gunite sprayed concrete. But incidentally, and not as our primary concern, the shapes have an interesting energy conservation quality. Hot air rises, but there's not very far for it to rise, and it recirculates. So from that point of view, it's very interesting. It conserves energy. The technology is very simple. You just spray concrete on the moulds.
Yeah.
And it's very quick and very cheap. And we are working with some of the biggest contractors in the country who seem very convinced. They, of course, wanted to know what the public response is. So we have an exhibition like this and we look at the public response.
The home of the year 2000 or the home of the year, how far away are we?
But in terms of practicalities, when will we get down to building it? The hotel project will take about 3 years. Before it's ended, we will be starting the first housing thing. And I would say that the first 800 or so houses that we're doing will be ready about 85.
Glimpse of the future? What did you have for breakfast this morning? A fair bet that you tucked into a plate of good old British eggs and bacon. But have you ever thought what goes into bringing home the bacon? The question is currently being discussed at the Royal Showground at Stoneleigh in Warwickshire, where farmers have gathered for the National Pig Fair. Sounds a fairly serious business, but there's a lighter side, as outlined in this book just published. It's written by James Robertson, who left the high-pressure world of advertising to become a pig farmer on the Welsh border. As he told Peter Green, that's when the fun started.
I was back in the, early 70s when everybody was going back to the countryside to throw pots and weave and things like that, and I wasn't good at any of those sort of things, and so I went into pigs.
Pigs? Why pigs?
Because they were cheap. Every other form of farming cost a lot of money to get into, and from my understanding, pigs were cheap to get into, which is why we did it.
What sort of problems did you encounter?
The sort of problems that one would expect, or the average man would expect, but I certainly didn't. For example, I bought a young boar, a charming fellow, who used to like being given rides around the yard. And he didn't know how to serve sows when he grew up. He knew what he wanted to do, but he didn't know how to go about it. And my O-levels didn't teach me how one taught pigs to make love. And in fact, he decided eventually that it was all about leaning against the front end of a sow and chewing her ear. And when he was enjoying a particularly titillating lean one morning, I grabbed him and heaved him bodily onto the sow and used my plastic glove to connect all the bits that should be connected. And from then on, he went on fine. But this is the sort of problem that I didn't expect.
Did you have any problems with sows?
sows like these lovely things, few of them. One of the problems I had was disposing of their dead piglets, because every sow, say you have a litter of 12, there's a fair chance that one of them may be born dead. And that was a form of waste which used to infuriate me.
I believe your pig farming career ended on quite a high note at an NFU dinner.
Well, this is one of the problems about pigs, that you tend to carry their presence round with you, and usually in the form of a sweet smell. But on this occasion, I was sitting beside my solicitor's wife, and she was making bright and witty conversation at me, and I was doing my level best to do the same back and not talk about pigs. And I leant forward, and a pig louse fell out of my hair onto her side plate. And a pig louse to a human louse, which of course we all know, is a bit like King Kong as opposed to a chimpanzee. And this damn thing climbed onto her roll and grinned at her. And she screamed, and my wife and I, we both fled the premises, I'm afraid.
James Robertson in the zany world of pigs. Well, world records are eluding the man they call the walking hod of North Staffordshire. Fred Burton, the 36-year-old strong-arm quarryman from Cheadle, now has an obsession that his name should go into the Guinness Book of Records. But try as he may, he just can't succeed. This is how he lifted more bricks than anyone else has ever done in November. 24 bricks, weight extremely heavy. Our reporter, John Swallow.
Very powerfully fit. It's amazing that the span of his arms and his hands here.
Come on, Fred. Come on, Fred.
You've not seen this before.
Oh, is he? Can he? Oh, yes! Oh!
Each time they've turned him down, they said either his stunts are too dangerous or they really aren't record breakers.
Well, I agree. With every record, there must come an element of danger. And Fred Burton, he's determined to get in that book, and he will get in that book. They've got to recognise him on some of the feats.
Well, this boy of yours is quite extraordinary, really, Peter, isn't he? Well, what's he going to attempt now?
Well, John, what you're going to see now is something absolutely fantastic. He's going to try and support over 55 stone across his waist, while just his head, shoulders and heels are on the bench.
If anything goes wrong, he's going to be in serious trouble, this boy, isn't he, with this?
This is a very, very dangerous thing.
And 6 ladies have to stand on that bench, do they?
They've got to stand along that bench, keep it supported, and if Fred ever goes away, it's got to help him. I don't know what's going to happen.
The girls are coming in now.
Same as I say, it's going to total up to over 55 stone. So it's a fair weight. Just to support yourself between 2 benches takes
How long has he got to hold them for?
We're hoping he's going to hold them about 3 seconds.
Okay, when you're ready.
He's ready, all right?
Come on, Fred, come on.
Right!
Yes, he's going through! Whoa!
Don't you think you're in danger of injuring yourself physically?
I don't think so, John. Saying like 3 nights a week, a manager's training regular, does things within his capabilities. He should be able to manage a world record.
But surely, Fred, there's got to be some limit somewhere.
Oh, I don't really know, John. I think you don't have to be a giant to get in the Guinness Book of Records. Sometimes I wonder.
And it's heartbreaking to see this boy pushing himself like this, isn't it?
Well, John, there's another great feat he's going to try again now. He's going to try and attempt to burst this hot water bottle in a fast time of less than 59 seconds, an unofficial time. So come on, Fred, away we go. We started off already long power.
What's the scarf for?
It's protect his eyes and face when it goes bang. This is a very, very dangerous thing to go again.
Oh.
It's getting tougher now and it's going to go a fair size. Some of these hot water bottles can go up to 5 feet in diameter. Is he going to do it? Come on, Fred, you have not much time. Come on, keep it going. We're just halfway there. Come on, keep it going. As you see, John, this is going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going up a lot bigger than we ever thought it would do. Come on, Fred, keep going. Come on. Yes, come on, Fred, you've got time. Come on. One more blow. Come on. Yes, come on. Fantastic. Keep it going, Fred. Come on. Yes. Oh, come on, Fred. 56, 57, 58, 59. 6, he's gone over the many, but this is absolutely fantastic. Oh, yes, great strong. Unbelievable.
Well, he certainly is a trier, isn't he?
That was just over the minute, John, but I've never seen one go up that big. It's absolutely fantastic. Right.
The truly amazing exploits of Fred Burton. Well, in our London studio is Norris McWhirter, the compiler and founder of the Guinness Book of Records. Norris, why are you being so obstinate in refusing Fred a chance to appear in your manual?
Well, it's not being obstinate, really. It's a question records can only be set if they are standardised and other people can attack them. Records such as number of people standing on one person's stomach depends on the size of the stomach. So these things have got to be controllable and they've got to have rigid rules.
Well, he seems to be absolutely obsessed with the idea of getting into your book, and some of the things he's doing are pretty dangerous, aren't they? I've got a feeling he might take it a bit too far. Aren't you worried that he might go over the top?
Yes, we're always worried about danger, and we don't publish records which are gratuitously dangerous. We leave a lot of them out. So, for instance, driving from place to place, things of that kind. So we are very careful to avoid publishing dangerous records, particularly in the field of eating and drinking.
Oh, that cuts me out. Anyway, besides eating and drinking, attempting to blow up hot water bottles really is very, very dangerous. Whatever you do, don't try and copy Fred Burton, or you might blow yourself up well and truly in more ways than one, apart from which it's a complete waste of a hot water bottle.